We had our live stream cut short because the volume went out. So we're back on here. Charles Van Morgan in the morning. We're back on here live, and we're going to finish our little dialogue that people didn't get to see because for some reason, little technical problems, we didn't have volume. So we'll start the show over again. Charles Van Morgan in the morning, and there's yeah, people laughing. Yeah. Let me turn the video on them and let them see what's going on. So yeah, Charles Van Morgan in the morning. We're gonna go live again, and because the volume went out about 24 minutes in to the other video. How strange is that? Wow. So yeah, so we're YouTube live again. Charles Van Morgan in the morning. So we're gonna try to reboot this thing and talk about state government violence against you, and how you can contest it. So we're going to talk about violence by state government officials. Hopefully you can hear me this time. We're on live, and wait for some people to come on in. Come on in, Charles Van Morgan in the morning. We are broadcasting live. Somebody just seen my sign and going down the road and laughed. And that's where we get into a sociological education that I'm not affected by their pressure. They're not my peers. By their public pressure, because in sociology you learn that you don't have to go along with the program. You don't have to obey what other people tell you to do. You can do what you want to do, what you know is right. You got to obey people in government power that tell you to do stuff that's wrong. So yeah, people go down here laughing because I'm out here building up my YouTube channel. If you can read, I don't know if it's backwards. It says Charles Van Morgan, and talks about live now, fraud elections, trying to harass me and publicly laughing at me, saying, well, that'll make him shut up. What he's doing is funny. I know it's, yeah, where'd you go to school at? Do you know anything about sociology? I'm educated out of your stupid stuff. You're the one that's funny, because I'm still on here. So we lost the live feed volume at about 24 minutes into the last video, and we only got 4,000 viewers. So I'm going to finish the dialogue, and this time we're going to be watching, see if the volume goes out. Charles Van Morgan in the morning. Broadcasting live. Got a great show for you to like, share, comment. Now we're working hard. This is the second time I've broadcast today, because the first one, the volume went out at 24 minutes. I wasn't looking at the screen. I had the back camera on. I didn't even notice it. But we'll do this again. We're not scared. So Charles Van Morgan in the morning. This show is a great show for you today. It's going to be about people in government power, their violence against you. People in government power are violent towards you. And we're going to talk about some of their violence that they do. We're going to talk about, and I talked about it, but it wasn't, they didn't get the volume. We're going to talk about how people in the government are snipers. They've literally killed people from hidden positions, snipering people, just like that guy, Sniper Charlie Kirk. Similarly, Thought people in government power did that. Yeah, it's amazing. I'm gonna tell you, because I used to be in the government. I never did that. But people in the government that covered up for murders that were done by snipers. So yeah, we're going to talk about the people in government power, their violence against you. Now this channel is about speaking out against people in public power that are infiltrated our government, that have deceitfully lied to you to get in office, that are part of an oligarchy that keep themselves in power illegitimately by their corruption. And this is stuff that applies all over the world. Doesn't matter if you're in Australia, whatever country. If you have a problem with the government, then there's means and measures you can take to fight them with social movements. Power to you, the people movement. And we can get this movement all over the world. Specifically, I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee. So, and Tennessee's the government I'm working on, but you can use these tactics and techniques, social movements. I have an education in that. I've got a Master of Arts in Sociology with an emphasis in Criminology. I have a Doctor of Jurisprudence. And so I know, I've been to their training schools. I know how they think, and I know how dirty they are, and I know how we can beat them. One way to beat them is with social pressure against them. And this part of the social pressure, get on social media with a camera and a microphone, and you can broadcast worldwide, which is what I'm doing. Now, for some strange, mysterious reason, my other broadcast, this is the second time today I broadcast, the volume went out. Imagine that, the volume went out of my YouTube broadcast. Is it just a technical difficulty, or are they trying to silence me? I don't know, but this time I got the camera turned around where I can see it. And we're gonna do the same show all over again. We're not letting them get by with anything. So we're talking about people in government power that are violent against you, violent against citizens, rogue people in government power. They're protesters that have infiltrated our government and are dangerous to your safety, health, protection, and well-being. Like, share, comment. We're only a few subscribers away from being over 1,000, so the message is getting out. In the past few days, we've had over 375,000 people listen to this channel, so the message is getting out. So we're going to talk about Major Stacy Heatherly and her violence towards you, her violence towards citizens, and her violence towards me, what she did. Talk about instances of violence. Yesterday we talked about Attorney Jeffrey Ward, about his violence towards me because I spoke out against him in a public forum where I was invited. If you missed it, watch the video. Spoke out against him in a public forum. And later on when I was peacefully, and it was invited, and later on when I was out on a public street driving a taxi, which I have to do because they refused to give me my law license, he approached me in a violent, threatening manner, trying to chase me down while I was stopped at a light, and then when the light turned green, I'm not going to fight him in the middle of the street. I left. But we're talking about people in government power and their violence toward us. They're violent people. Now, they allege you're violent. But I'm not violent. I'm advocating for voting and getting this social movement together to defeat these dirtbags, defeat these crooks in government power, and that cause more social harm than street criminals. So we're going to talk about Major Stacy Heatherly's violence towards me. We're going to talk about the drunken sailor, Major Stacy Heatherly. She's a wrinkled, drunken sailor, Major Stacy Heatherly. That is a violent person that got promoted because she backs up the politicity, she backs up the politics, she backs up the government. She keeps them, the illegitimate government keeps people in power by lying and committing fraud. Now, her and Major Stacy Heatherly, she's major over the Tennessee Highway Patrol right now. A very dangerous woman that's caused the fatality rate to skyrocket in Tennessee. She was in internal affairs, sergeant internal affairs, with her girlfriend, a man that she calls her girlfriend. Her lying friend is Lionel Russell. They worked in internal affairs together with the Tennessee Department of Public Danger. It's codenamed Tennessee Department of Public Safety. And they learn in the Internal Affairs Division how to use their power illegitimately. Now listen to this. Not to facilitate the truth and do fair internal affairs investigations. They learn and they get high off this stuff. You know, drugs make some people high. They get high off of doing evil. You know, there's evil people that get a rush off of using power to get something that's not true. Shows how powerful they are. And that's what they learn in their Internal Affairs Division. They learn how to get falsehoods through, and when they get falsehoods through, they feel high about it. They feel good about it. It's evil at work. And that's Major Stacy Heatherly and Lionel Russell. That's what they do. That's what they learn in internal affairs. Now, if they want to get rid of somebody that they don't like, or maybe that's protecting the public, what they do is they enact their training in the Tennessee Department of Public Safety Internal Affairs and start proceeding with a lie. Now, they don't know if it'll work. They try to rig the system to get it through their dirty courts. And when they get something that's false through a court system that damages public safety, it makes them, you know, they love that. But situations where they should get rid of troopers, where they're drunk, on the job drunk, they'll cover for them. They will protect wrongdoing that damages you, the public, and get them to keep their job lie for them, and they will get rid of good people that protect the public. That's what they learn in internal affairs. That's what Major Stacy Heatherly now and Sergeant Lionel Russell did while they were in internal affairs. So they get out of internal affairs, and I'm in the Knoxville district cleaning up the roads, making more drunk driving arrests than anybody in the state doing God's work. They get in internal affairs, and nobody knows what you're talking about. Yeah, they do. Baby of the official sponsor of the Democratic Party. How soft are your... yeah, pretty soft. You piece of shit. Yeah, talking like that. Okay, so they get in internal affairs and learn how to do dirty. What they're learning in internal affairs, according to sociology, is to legitimize the people in government to keep them in power. They learn how to lie for the people in power and get stuff through that's false. And people that attack their legitimacy, they learn how to get stuff through that's not true, that's a lie. But if you look over it, like a lawyer's trained to do, like I'm trained to do, you can tell they're lying through their teeth. And that is my job, to prosecute people in state government, in power in state government, to bring my case before the public worldwide, 375,000 people in the last month, and to bring my arguments before the public to get information out about how dangerous these people are worldwide. It makes a difference. It puts pressure on them. It makes it, even if I don't beat them down, it makes it harder for them to get lies to make it easier for them to make it harder for them to do that. So they have to be a little bit more honest, and that's the job that we have here that's put before us, and that's what we're going to do. So we're talking about Major Stacy Heatherly and her crimes against humanity. And we've been working on this about 5 years. We're not going away. We're here to stay. And I am concerned about my safety. They would like to hurt me. They're violent, and that's why I'm talking about violent people in state government. If I end up damaged or hurt or off there, check out, see if I'm on Telegram, because this message is going to get out, or Rumble. And my volume went off on this. Or if something violent happens to me, don't look at somebody like Charlie Kirk. Look at people in government power may be responsible for it, because they're violent, dangerous, dirty, wicked people. So we're talking about Major Stacy Heatherly learned how to get falsehoods in their internal affairs, Tennessee Department of Public Danger, through a rogue court system. And they learned how to make things legitimate appear legitimate that are false, that damage you and damage your safety, your public safety. So I was out on the road providing for public safety, and I trusted the system. I thought it worked. And I'm here to tell you, it does work for them. It doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for the truth. The people in power try to legitimize their corruption to maintain their power. They're not corrupt. They're corrupt. They're not about public safety. I got in government service to provide for public safety. That's why I led the state in drunk driving arrest for more than half a decade. And people in public power, didn't like that. They want you to worship them and kiss the ring, and I'm not going to do that. I swore to uphold the law, uphold the Constitution, and provide for public safety. So Major Heatherly and Sergeant Russell worked internal affairs together. She calls Sergeant Russell her girlfriend. And my supervisor, that was very good to me, gave me all fives on my evaluations, thanked me weekly for the job that I was doing to protect society. I led the state drunk driving arrest. He transferred to another district because the lieutenant over the district transferred. And we got in a crooked Lieutenant Kimberly Ogle, that harassed him over the radio and caused him trouble and ran the sergeant down over the radio because she didn't like him. And so he did the appropriate thing to try to transfer, did it nicely, didn't act like he was transferring because of her, but Sergeant Bobby Clevenger, who was very good to me, transferred out of the district. And we're going to get to Major Stacy Heatherly and her violence towards me on the job. And he transferred out of the district because the lieutenant transferred out of the district. They gave me awards and thanked me for the job I did, and went on for years. I led the state, kept the fatality rate down, arrested people in drunk driving wrecks that hurt little children, arrested people in drunk driving wrecks that committed felony DUI because they seriously injured other people, broke their bones, or they hit them in drunk driving arrest, put them in jail. And I was out protecting the public, and I seen little children dead in drunk driving wrecks, and it has an impact on you. I thought, hey, I can't do anything about that, but what I can do is I can go out and enforce the law and try to protect the public, use my blue lights, my siren, use my official abilities to lower the fatality rate to protect the public, which is what officers should do. That's what I did. And the fatality rate was lower when I was a Tennessee State Trooper, but that doesn't matter to the Tennessee Department of Public Danger. That's their code name is Tennessee Department of Public Safety, but their real name is Tennessee Department of Public Danger. So I got Sergeant Larry Russell and Major Stacy Heatherly, came out of internal affairs where they learned how to lie, where they learned how to perpetrate lies and get it through the court system. And when they perpetrate a lie and get it through the court system, that makes them feel good. That's pure evil. Just like that guy that killed Charlie Kirk. You think after he did his dirty deed, he feels good about that. He was able to do something evil. That's what these evil people that infiltrate the government, they feel good about their evil. Feel good about taking somebody off the road that was out protecting public safety. So they move out internal affairs, had their rogue training, want to play with their toy, how they show how powerful they are, that they can get lies through a rogue Tennessee court system. And Sergeant Lionel Russell became my supervisor immediately on the shift. He started initiating false complaints against me and doing things dirty. One particular incident was I had a drunk man that was threatening my family. And that don't happen very often, but it's kind of alarming when somebody you've arrested for drunk driving starts threatening your family. And you can't get out and beat the hell out of them. That'd be wrong. But it gets on your nerves. You know, that's what they want you to do. They want you to fight them, beat on them, so you'll attack them and do something stupid. Then they can sue and get a lot of money. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not stupid. But you want to get rid of them as quick as you can, because you're having to listen to them threatening your family. And I know some of y'all, well, I'd beat them up. Yeah, when you do that, then they get out of their criminal charges. You go to jail for assaulting them, and also they get money from the state. So that's not the thing to do. The thing to do is write it down on the warrant and try to keep them in jail longer. So this guy's, I arrested him for drunk driving. He's threatening my family all the way to jail. And I'm trying to hurry and get him to the jail so that I can get shot of him, or I don't have to listen to his threats. And you know, if he comes to my house, yeah, I'll blow him to hell. But they're not going to do that. They're just trying to incite you. And a smart trooper, a smart officer knows that, one that's been around a while. Some of them go off and start choking them, beating on them. And you see the videos on television where they end up going off the deep end, and the person gets a case against them and wins a lot of money, and the officer goes to jail. You don't want to do that. It's words, you know. It doesn't mean anything other than to get on your nerves. And you know, you can keep a picture of them and keep an eye out for them, but that's part of being in law enforcement. So he threatened me all the way to jail, said he's going to kill my family, and it's not pleasant to listen to. So I hurried to get him to the jail. Didn't want to be around him, want to get shot of him. And you know, you want to choke him, you want to knock him over the head. Don't talk to me like, well, hey, don't threaten my family, don't threaten my kids. But you can't do that. That's stupid. So I was wanting to get him at the jail and get rid of him. I don't have to deal with his stupid self anymore. Just trying to incite me. But when you're listening to somebody saying that about your family, it's infuriating. And you know, you tell them, you better not come to my house. Come to my house and try to hurt my family, I'll defend myself. You idiot. But if you take action and try to harm them for the words that they're taking when they're in handcuffs in the back of your car, you're gonna get messed over. It's not the thing to do. A lot of officers do that. If you've been around a while, you know better than that. And so I got him to the jail and was wanting to get rid of him. He wasn't going back in my car. So when I got him to the jail, he sat down on the little sidewalk here at the Knox County Jail, and J.J. Jones was over the jail then. And those corrections officers didn't like to have to get off their behind and prosecute people and you know, pat people down and do their damn job. And they like to sit around and do nothing. And they didn't care nothing about the roads being kept safe. So they didn't like for me to keep bringing in people. And I brought in more people than anybody in the state here in Knox County that were dangerous to themselves and others. And the fatality rate was lower, less people got killed. The more people you put in jail for drunk driving, obviously, they don't get killed and they don't kill somebody else. And if you keep doing that night after night, like I did, leading the state in that, I arrested more people for drunk driving than anybody in the state. And I wasn't trying to be hard on them, prosecuting them. I was protecting them. Some of them thanked me. Some of them to this day thank me for protecting them and other people. And you're doing them a favor. And you know, it can get off their record, and but they don't get dead that night. And they don't kill somebody else. So you're doing them a favor too. And I was doing that more than any trooper in the state. And sheriff's deputies at the correction officers at the jail didn't like me bringing people in every day because they had to get up and do a little work. They don't care about the public. They're not in law enforcement because they're sworn to uphold the law. They want that paycheck to look big and do nothing. But so I took them to jail. And that guy's going to get rid of him. He's threatening my family. And he sat down on the sidewalk there before they patted him down. They're not even supposed to let him do that. They're supposed to put him up against the wall and pat him down, set him straight, let him know who's in charge in the jail. They didn't do that. They sat down on the sidewalk after he was in their custody, and he said, I don't feel good. This is somebody that threatened me all the way to jail. I was wanting to get rid of him. Said he didn't feel good. So they called a nurse out, and I said, you know, okay. And they had a nurse look at him. They said, he's got high blood pressure. We can't take him in the jail. You need to take him to the hospital. We're putting him back in your car. And I said, you know, listen. He's threatened me all the way, threatened my family, threatened me all the way to jail. He's not getting back in my car. My blood pressure's a little high too, but they, evidently they care about their own officers. They care about their duty. So like, share, comment, and also contribute if you can. But they told me they were going to put him back in my car. So I'm not a toy, and I was already mad. And I said, if he needs an ambulance, I'm not a medical person. You are. You won't take him in the jail. I'm not taking him to the hospital. But what I'll do is I'll call an ambulance. If he did, I'm not putting him in my car. He could die on his way to jail if he's so bad off. But I didn't think he was bad off. His wicked's what he was, and the jail was helping him out, taking his side. A drunk, dangerous driver that I even protected him, threatening my family, taking his side, trying to put him back in my car. And I said, no, I'll call an ambulance to take him to the hospital because I'm not a medical personnel. He might, if he's so in bad medical care, which you say he is, I don't know, then I'm not a medical person. On the way to jail, he could die, so I'll call an ambulance, which is the right, appropriate thing to do. So I started to get on my phone, and they said, no, he's going back in your car. And I said, no, don't put him in my car. So I locked the door. They tried to open the door. Open your door. No, I'm not unlocking the door. He is not going back in my car. You're not going to sit back there and threaten my family. And I'm not a medical person. I'm not driving him to the hospital. If you won't take him in the jail, I'll call an ambulance to come pick him up, and they will take him to the jail. I'm not doing that. It's not my job. And I'm not an EMT. And if you won't take him, that's fine. So I got on my phone. They said, no, don't call on your phone. They couldn't get in my car. I wouldn't let them. I locked the door. And I called an ambulance. I said, no, don't call an ambulance. Don't call an ambulance. So we got in a little, pissing contest. And I won the contest. That's what they got mad about. I called 911, send an ambulance to the jail. Got somebody here. They won't take in the jail. They said needs to go to the hospital. So, when a trooper calls 911, they send the cavalry, and so they sent the fire trucks, the first responders and the ambulance, and the people at the jail said, no, don't call an ambulance. And they said, give me your phone. So I didn't care. I knew after I called they were going to send them no matter what. They thought, those corrections officers thought they were more powerful than a trooper, So I handed my phone, I'm just messing with them. Hey, you want my phone? Here you go. And gave them the phone, and they got on my phone. No, don't send an ambulance. They're on 911. And so they're okay. And then they handed me back the phone. I said, send an ambulance. Send an ambulance. So they did. They sent an ambulance. Now that made the people in the jail mad. And the ambulance got there and took the person to the hospital, and I didn't have to hang around. Somebody was threatening me and my family. And they got their way. He didn't go in the jail, but they don't care about that. Dirty corrections officers. Dirty Knox County Sheriff's officers. Not all of them, some of them. Some of them great officers. Sheriff J.J. Jones is up trying to get reelected, to vote for that dirtbag. He didn't do anything to discipline some of these people that did some crooked. And I'm getting ready to get into the crooked they did. Now, that wasn't the end of it, because I didn't know. I called my supervisor, Sergeant Bobby Clevenger, and I told him what had happened, that they said that the guy that had threatened me all the way to jail, that he needed to go to the hospital, and I was about to put him back in my car while he's threatening me. So I called an ambulance, and that made him mad. And the ambulance came, and I went and signed a warrant. I'm going to sign a warrant, and they can pick him up later if he needs to go to the hospital. And Sergeant Bobby Clevenger said, okay, yeah, that's fine. Just, they got cameras all over the place. He said, next time, leave your microphone and camera on when you go in the jail. I didn't before that, because you're around other law enforcement officers, and they got cameras and stuff, and you figure that they will tell the truth. But hold the phone, will they? So what I didn't know is I pissed them off, I guess, because I won the little pissing contest. The guy didn't get in my car to threaten my family. Went in an ambulance, and they didn't want an ambulance. I don't know why. wasn't hurting them. He didn't get to go. He didn't have to go in their jail, but they wanted it done the way they wanted it done. And you know, I didn't work for that department. Don't even like the sheriff's department for the most part. Full of corrupt officers. You know, they do some dirty stuff. Not all of them. Not all of them. There are some great officers that I know. Don't hurt the sheriff's deputies because some of them are crooked. Vote for a good sheriff. But what I didn't know was that one of the female corrections officers was going to set me straight, show me who's the boss. So she wrote out a complaint, a false complaint, a lie. She committed a criminal act and wrote out a false complaint and said that. Listen to what she said about me. She said that, and you can look it up. There's a public record of the complaint she filed against me. She said that, listen to this complaint. She said that I pulled a gun on people in the sheriff's department, in the intake, where there's cameras all over the place, and wrote that in a complaint, and they called the lieutenant out to take the complaint at the jail. That was the same day that I refused to take somebody in my car. I didn't want to make my patrol car an ambulance, and I didn't want to be around them because they threatened me, and they wouldn't accept them in the jail, so I called an ambulance for them. And they didn't want it done that specific way, and they didn't like me, what I did. Now, I don't work for them. Didn't work for them. I work for the highway patrol. So she wrote out a false complaint saying I pulled a gun on them. And you know, if I pulled a gun out of them, they've got videotape in that Sally Port at the Knox County Sheriff's Office, all over the place, video and audio, in case an inmate, because that's where they take them in case they have to fight an inmate and the inmate gets hurt, showing that the inmate did something where they had to fight him. And they have video if they're justified in knocking the hell out of the inmate. But if they're not justified and they hurt somebody, then the camera just disappears, you know, if they're in the wrong and it's somebody they want to protect. The only time you hear stuff bad happen out of the jail is if it's a bunch of officers that they want to get rid of, and then they hang them out. And even if they didn't do anything wrong, they doctor parts of the video and release parts and hold others to make it incriminate them. I mean, you can make a video show whatever you want to, and that's what they do. Or if they've done something wrong, if an officer has beat on somebody that's one of their big dogs, and they don't want them to get in trouble, then there's no video, they lose it. It doesn't exist. Like they did to me in Chattanooga, where they alleged that I resisted arrest, but a video has never been released. There were body cameras all over the place. They busted my phone where I couldn't record it, and I didn't resist arrest. They literally beat me and put me in the hospital. And where's the body cam? It'll never come out because they know they did wrong. They lied on their warrants. They committed crimes. So that's the way they doctor the videos. People in power legitimize themselves. But she wrote that complaint out. She called, a lieutenant came out and she showed the lieutenant the complaint. And he's like, no, I'm not approving that complaint. Get rid of that. That's no. And reported her. He should have reported her to their sheriff's department, saying that this officer said that a Tennessee state trooper pulled a gun out on them in the Sally Port. And they would have got all the video evidence together and showed where I did it and prosecuted me for that. It's a criminal offense. But it didn't happen. I didn't do that. I did what I was supposed to do. I called an ambulance for a person that didn't even probably need an ambulance, but I don't make that call. For a person that their hospital personnel said needed an ambulance. And because I called an ambulance, they didn't want me to call an ambulance. They wanted me to take the person to the hospital in my patrol car, which I'm not gonna do if they die in the backseat of my patrol car. And besides that, I didn't want to listen to that guy threaten my family. So called an ambulance. Because I called an ambulance. Somebody needed, according to them, emergency medical care. Didn't let them put him in my car, lock the door. He's not going in my car. I got a right to control my patrol car. It's like they had a right to control their jail. I wasn't demanding that he go into jail. They're rogue people. So the lieutenant wouldn't approve the complaint that I pulled the gun on. I didn't pull the gun on him. It's a dirty lie. And he wouldn't approve it, which he should have facilitated a complaint against her for filing a false police report. You know, that's a false report. And they do that to inmates all the time. And inmates, you know, they get their way, but a trooper's a little harder to lie like that. So, and I didn't know she even made that complaint. So And my sergeant told me to keep my camera on, so I always did after that. And about 3 years later, Sergeant Lionel Russell got on my shift from Nashville, wanting to put a little toy to work to get rid of somebody that was doing a good job, just to show how powerful he was, so he could get off on that, like he is in state power, how you can get elected to being a lawmaker without any legal education, their power, how crooked they are. So he got on my shift wanting to, and I was out lowering the fatality rate, wanting to show his power that he could get rid of me. It didn't matter how many lives I was saved. He was wanting to get off on his power, him and his friend, Stacy Heatherly, called him his girlfriend. So he starts immediately upon getting on the shift, making false complaints against me. So, I did what any smart person do. I tried to transfer, no harm, just get off his shift. Because he brought up that complaint where that woman said that I pulled a gun on her. That happened 3 years earlier under another sergeant. He facilitated the complaint. He met with that woman, sheriff's deputy, over near the Gay Street Bridge. It's closed down now, where the Baptist Hospital, but he was pulled in there, and I pulled up next to him, seen him after I took somebody to jail, where he was out trying to get me fired. I pulled up next to him, and he said, I got a meeting or something, trying to run me off. So I left. I didn't know what it was about, but he was meeting with the lady that filed a false police report that their supervisors wouldn't even facilitate, and they should have. I didn't know anything about it. They should have gotten her terminated over that, where she wasn't able to do what she did. But he is facilitating that complaint. A lieutenant at the sheriff's department wouldn't, but he's facilitating a 3-year-old complaint that happened under another supervisor, saying something completely absurd, and trying to get me fired. Internal Affairs investigated it, and to his demise, of course, he wouldn't give up. They found in my favor, but he didn't give up with that. He initiated another complaint. I was out getting calls at like 6:30. It's starting to rain now, so I need to hurry on. About 6:30 in the morning, where I would have to stay over to work the wrecks. So he complained that I was staying over past my shift and it was dangerous. I might have a wreck. If you don't want me to stay past 7, don't dispatch me to a wreck at 6:30. I had no control over that. But saying that I was dangerous because I was staying over shift, I have no control over that. See what kind of liar that man is? And Stacy Heatherly, in cahoots with him, wants to back him up. And then the wreck happened where, and I'm trying to change shifts, get the hell away from the dirt bag. And then that wreck happened where somebody killed herself, and they said, here's another opportunity. A wreck that somebody kills herself, somebody's dead, it infuriates the public, and it'll be highly scrutinized. So I think we can get him on this. So under Sergeant McDonald, I went to another supervisor. They investigated the wreck, and where they said I drove past a car and seen a person that needed help and continued going on. So they investigated and they cleared me. Oh, that made Sergeant Lionel Russell and his buddy, wrinkled drunk Major Heatherly now, made them mad. So they didn't give up. My sergeant went on, and we're talking about violence of people in state government. And I'm getting to how she was violent toward me. She's violent several times. She's a violent person, dangerous. So I got cleared. They took my computer away, and I couldn't enter my time into Edison. I was ordered not to. And my Sergeant McDonald went on because I transferred away from Sergeant Lionel Russell. And Sergeant McDonald had an injury, and he had to have surgery, and he went on sick leave. And I'm sure Major Stacy Heatherly now requested that she be over my shift so she could be close to stab me. And what she tried to do, but listen, baby, I'm not dead yet. I'm out here talking to 350,000 people about your deadly corruption against people in the public and how you legitimize illegal activity. So she got over my shift. I was already cleared. I'd been taken off the road, put back on the road. I'd already made about 20 drunk driving arrests in December. She gets back over my shift, reassigns me to the driver's license bureau. And while my sergeant was on sick leave when they were investigating the first incident, she was surprised that they put me back to work because I told them the truth. I hadn't done anything. I didn't enter my time in the Edison, so she's over my shift because I was ordered not to. I was on administrative leave with pay, and I was ordered not to. They even took my computer away, took my car away. I had no way to get to enter my time. And I assumed, just like any trooper would, if you're on administrative leave, you're ordered not to do any activity with your job, that you don't do anything. That you're on administrative leave with pay, that the administrative sergeant will enter your time. Because you can't do it, you're not allowed to. And anybody would think that, and that's what they should have done. But they didn't even enter my time. These dirtbags, you know, thinking, oh, he's gone. But I told the truth. The system worked. But they keep rigging, working on it, trying to get their illegitimate power through the court system. And we'll hold this up here where my phone won't get wet. And so we're out here, rain or shine. So they got that through. They got it through a court system anyway. But she met me. She called me in when first day I went back to work and told me to meet her at the highway patrol post. So I meet her at the highway patrol post like she orders. She comes in off duty. Meets me at the highway patrol post. Dressed like a whore. Pants that showed everything she owned. Camel toe. I was astonished. Disgusting. I had to look at that because she ordered me. She's a sergeant over my shift because she took over when my sergeant went on sick leave. There with a lieutenant. Of course, she's not going to face me by herself. Trying to incite me, trying to make me punch or something. I'm smarter than that. I'm not going to do that. Stupid people, they're violent. I'm not. So she calls me to the office. Comes in off duty, dressed like a whore, where you could see everything she owned. It was so disgusting to me. An old lady like that, dressed like that. How disgusting. That's, you know, I'm just saying that's probably how she got promoted. You know, those other supervisors. Nasty, major, nasty Colonel Tracy Trott, you know. He probably got off on that and probably liked that. I don't know. She's a nasty person. That's how, and it's not defamation, it's true. That's why she came in, off duty, no uniform on. Pulled me in the office, starts yelling at me about me not entering my time. I tried to explain to her. I was ordered not to enter my time. My computer was taken away. And she stuck her finger in my face. You know, I almost put her fingerprint on my nose. She's lucky she didn't do that because she had made physical contact with me. I got a right to defend myself, you skank. And it's not defamation, it's true. She knows she did that. Off duty, comes in, sticks her finger in my face, yelling at me, trying to get me to do something stupid. But I've, you know, got a family. I'm not going to do anything to get fired. I'm talking about violence and people in state power. She's a major now. And she yells at me, talks to me like a dog, and I sit there and take it. You know, she tells me to shut up. I do. It's a military type organization. And take it. And, you know, hey, I'm a big boy, you know. There's creeps in the highway patrol. It didn't stop my agenda of arresting people for drunk driving and low fatality rate. And the truth generally gets out. But so she yells at me, cusses me out, and then takes me out in the hallway. I know she's recording me, you know. Takes me out in the hallway, I know that now, and starts being real nice to me, trying to get stuff about the wreck out of me so she can incriminate me about the wreck that's already been investigated, already been cleared, trying to reinitiate, like Sergeant, hey buddy, you're good. That's my son. You're good. I'm just walking like Sergeant Lionel Russell did, trying to initiate something that's already been decided, because that shows their power. If already been decided good, we know it's good. We'll try to get it through a crooked court system. So that's what she did. She reinitiated that. A few days later, I was reassigned to the driver's license bureau while she was sergeant over my shift. She watched the video before she was even over my shift, a surreptitious covert operation. She wasn't supposed to watch the video. She wasn't of the pursuit. She wasn't a supervisor over me. She conducted an illegal covert operation, with the dirty captain, and made plans for my demise and your demise, because I was providing for public safety. She damn sure wasn't, and damn sure not now. She could care less about public safety. Got all the gab, got all the gab. And we'll get into maybe tomorrow about her violating general orders about fitness for duty with facts and evidence. I'll prosecute the case. And this ain't lies about her. This is true. She lied about me and violent toward me. And then we'll talk about people in state power violence against you. And then not only she do that, call me in the office, yelling at me, sticking her finger in my face, talking to me like a dog over something that I didn't even do wrong, but that don't matter to them. And then after she got me fired, wrongly, lied on me, went to the scene and investigated it, shut down the road, parked the car where the car I drove past was, and then drove by and seen the car that she parked there in the daylight, and said that I should have seen the car that I didn't see because it's off the road in the dark, that she seen that she parked there, and drove by and seen the car that she parked there. That was their experiments, what they paid her to do. She's on the clock, getting your tax money, proving a lie, taking the leading DUI arrester off the road. And I'm just telling you, that's what they do. That's what they do in Tennessee. They're dirty, try to make their power legitimate when it's illegitimate. And the governor, he claims, how do you get people to believe that you're an honest person? You say, oh, people believe if you're a Christian, you're honest. So yeah, Governor Bill Lee, I'm a Christian. So he lies, and I don't know his heart, but proclaims to be a Christian because people think, oh, if he's a Christian, he's honest. Just because people proclaim stuff doesn't mean a damn thing. Look at what he does. Look at what he does. Close down hospitals. Close down hospitals. Look at who his friends are. The former governor, Bill Haslam, that got rich off stepping over bodies in his convenience store, exploiting poor convenience store clerks. Stepping over their bodies, hiring new ones when they got murdered on the job. The most dangerous job in the world is convenience store clerks. About 300 of them get killed every year, and he exploits the financial system. The convenience store clerks take all the risk, and the former governor, Bill Haslam, takes all the money. And then when one of them gets killed, he hires some more so he can get richer. Doesn't even provide security for him. Look who he hangs around. This is the governors in Tennessee. They're crooked, corrupt people. Crooked and corrupt as hell. You think about how crooked they are. Vote them out. But they're violent. So anyway, after I was fired, we're talking about corrupt people in government power, how crooked they are. She got me fired by lying on me. After it had already been investigated, and I'd already been put back to work, I was represented by counsel because I wasn't going along with it. I'm not going along with a lie. I don't care who says it. I don't care what judge says that I did something wrong. I know I did, and I was there, and also another witness was there that seen the same thing I did, nothing, even though they changed their testimony to fit their lie, to fit their narrative. Sergeant Joe Walker did that, and I'll tell you about how Joe Walker covered up a sniper's murder. Yeah, sniper's murder. So we might talk about that tomorrow. You think about Charlie Kirk getting sniped by a murder. What if that happened in Tennessee, and the Tennessee Highway Patrol found the person that did it and covered up for him so they didn't do anything wrong? Charlie Kirk would still be dead, and the perpetrator of a violent act, killing an innocent person, would be set free. That's what the Tennessee Highway Patrol did up in Claiborne County. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Yeah, I'm accusing them of employing a sniper that was a Tennessee state trooper that shot an innocent person and killed him and got by with it because Sergeant Joe Walker covered it up. I know that because I used to work inside the Highway Patrol. So I wouldn't fear rogue snipers as bad as I would Tennessee Highway Patrol people. So after I was terminated, we're talking about violence of people in state government, how dangerous they are to you and me. I'm very concerned about my safety. But, you know, somebody's got to do it. I'm a fighter. I'm drawn to a fight. I'm drawn to a good cause. When I was a trooper, the good cause was keeping the fatality rate lower and attacking the DUI problem. Now, you know, they've taken me off the road, so now my fight, and I'm a fighter, that's what I'm drawn to, is fighting the state government, people in power in the state government that don't belong there, that are crooked as hell. One way to do it is YouTube and getting information out. And I'm doing a pretty good job of it. Got over $375,000 in the past. $375, not $1,000, I wish. You know, you can contribute. Got over 375,000. Now we're in a little bind here. Dude, got over 375,000 viewers in the past 28 days. So I'm getting the word out pretty damn good, aren't I? So, about these violent people. So, she had already got me terminated, and I was appealing it. I'm not going along with their lies. I'm still not going along with their lies. It's a lie that they've stuck on me, but I'm not going along with it. It's not true. Never will I go along with their lies. They need to hold up their white flag, because what they think is running from them is chasing them. And we'll chase them all the way to hell. They can hold up the white flag anytime they want to and surrender. That's on them, but I'm not giving up the fight. And we're winning. We're going to win. We're going to start this we're going to continue the social movement that we started and spread it all over the world, especially in the state of Tennessee. So she came to my house. Sergeant Stacy Heather came to my house unannounced after I was terminated by her lies, and came to my house unannounced, trying to get me to sign a resignation paper that I wouldn't sign. I'm not resigning. I'm fighting this. Even if you get a rogue judge to sign off on lies, the truth matters. It has weight. And I'm telling the truth. You know, you're not gonna get by with lying on me and make me like it. That's what I told little Russell one day. So came to my house unannounced, and tried to get me to sign resignation papers, and I wouldn't sign them. I was represented by counsel. She should have went through counsel. Walked up on my, under my carport, and I wouldn't sign the papers. I thought she was going to shoot me. I didn't have a gun or anything at that time. I didn't know how dirty they were, and she didn't. Fortunately, they had another supervisor there that said he ain't got to sign that, and I didn't have to. Wasn't going to. I said I need to run it by an attorney. I'm represented, and they should have went through my attorney. Shows up at my house unannounced. You stay off my property, Major Stacy Heather. You disgusting. At least that time she was in a uniform. You know, the crinkly uniform. So that's people in state power. Their corruption, their crooked, how dirty they are. Their violence, sticking her finger in my face, yelling at me, coming to my house unannounced after she'd wrongfully taken my employment away from me. I mean, how dirty are these people? Hello? How dirty are these people? They're crooked as hell. They're crooked as hell. They're violent. So we got knocked off early this morning because the volume went off. So we're back on here doing this evening. Charles Van Morgan in the morning. This is the second replay. It went off after 20 minutes on the first one. So we finished this, and we're going to show you a picture like we promised the other day. It's on the end of the other video of Jeffrey Ward. Got to be in the same Ward. The attorney that chased me down the road. Tried to. And I'm not afraid of him, but I'm not going to stop my taxi in the road to have a fight with some nut. And, we're talking about violence by government people. Tomorrow we'll talk about how the State Highway Patrol in Claiborne County, with a sniper, a shooter, a trooper hiding behind a tree, killed somebody. They didn't even see the bullet coming. There was a completely innocent person. That all started from another shooting where another trooper shot somebody, and that person might have been justified, but the trooper should have let the city and county handle it and how they violate general orders. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. And so join us tomorrow this second live showing today, live video today. Thank you all for joining me. We're not going to let the volume shut down stop us. So what we want you to do, we're going to explain how to get this social movement continued and how to start one in your area. So like, share, comment, contribute, and we're only like just a few more people, and we can get over 1,000 subscribers. I dropped my phone. About 1,000 subscribers. And here's my business. Let me put in a plug for my business. It's Safe Taxi Knoxville, and that's what I do for a living right now, and also starting this social movement. We've had this going about 5 years, ran for public office statewide, got votes in every county except for one, ran for city government office. We're, this odds are stacked up against us because the government is dirty and they brand you, and I'm not going along with their brand. So we'll tell you some tactics and strategies of people that are less powerful to fight the dirty government. And tomorrow we'll talk about snipers in state government. We're talking about government violence. And so we're going to get off here. Thank you all for joining. Like, share, comment, and contribute. I'll put my square icon to keep this message going. We're going to try to travel all over the state, put out real news unbridled. You won't hear this anywhere except for from me, from Charles Van Morgan. If they kick me off here, then I'll be on Telegram or I'll be on Rumble. But we're going to put out information, honest, truthful information about rogue people in government power for your public safety, protection, and well-being. And thank you all for joining us. We're going to continue this. We'll be back on here tomorrow morning about 6 o'clock. So join us and help out the channel. If you subscribe, it'll get us over 1,000 here in the next few days. If you contribute, it'll help us travel the state, report on news. So just to recap, we're talking about violent people in state government. The sniper was violent. What about people in state government? They don't want to talk about that, their violence. So we talked about Stacy Heatherly, major now. They get promoted for being violent and backing up the rogue government. Tomorrow we'll talk about Sergeant Joe Walker and his covering up a sniper for the state, similar to what they did to only more ruthless, what they did to Charlie Kirk, a state trooper, shot somebody from a hidden position, and it was covered up. And there's 2 incidences of that. One of them probably justified. The other one was a completely innocent person that had nothing to do, and the trooper was violating the general order and murdered somebody. The same sergeant investigated that lied on me, and we'll talk about that. Get a little truth out here to people in power. So we're speaking truth to power and getting the message out. And then also later on, we're gonna talk about how Stacy Heatherly is violating fitness for duty. And we'll maybe send a copy of that to the Highway Patrol and let them see, because I turned in a legitimate complaint to them, let them know, hey, she's doing this. And I haven't heard anything back, been several months ago, and I'm not going to. And that's not the only thing she's done. She's still in valor. But their complaint process is not set up to get rid of people that are violent, dangerous. It's set up to keep people in power that are in power, and to destroy people that are doing good and that are trying to stand up for public safety. So we'll talk a little more about that. We'll tell you about how some of the social movement things that we can do to get our power back and fight these dirt bags. So thank you all so much. I appreciate you watching my channel, and may God bless you, I pray. And remember the message, the gospel of Jesus Christ. More important than any political campaign, more important than fighting the government, because there's never going to be any 100% just government on the face of this planet. The only just government is going to be when God takes over and Jesus Christ is in control. But we need to fight these people and try to make them more honest, and that's what we're going to do. So like, share, contribute, and we'll get off here. This is the second video we've done today, and please keep watching tomorrow morning about 6 o'clock. talk about state snipers. People in power sniping, killing people. We're going to put out the evidence, let you, and also tell you about how we can fight them. God bless you all. Thank you all so very much. And the last thing I always say is God loves you, and I do too.